Have you ever hesitated to go after the money you really wanted? Maybe you've been taught that wealth isn't something good. Maybe you've been told that wanting more makes you selfish. Maybe, like many others, you're afraid. Afraid that if you pursue wealth and fail, you might lose everything, or end up worse off than you are now. If any of this sounds familiar, then this story might be the one you need to hear. This is the story of a man who spent years convincing himself that living with less was enough. That was until he realized that his fear of wealth had been costing him everything that truly mattered. Stay until the end of the story. This might change your perspective on money. In a quiet town nestled between lush hills and vast farmlands, there lived a teacher named Ethan. Ethan was a man of integrity, always on time for work, always helping his neighbors when needed. He had a modest life. He earned $700 per month teaching elementary school, a decent amount for the area. But after paying rent, food, and sending money home to support his mother, Ethan was left with next to nothing. Some months, not even $1. Ethan's apartment had peeling paint and broken fixtures. The roof leaked when it rained, and his clothes were old and faded. He ate the same basic meals every day, not because he liked them, but because they were all he could afford. And when people asked him if he wanted more money, a better job, a side hustle, Ethan would shake his head. "I'm fine," he would say. "I don't need much. Life is simple this way." But in truth, this wasn't really how he felt. What Ethan was actually feeling was fear. Fear of trying something new. Fear of failure. Fear that if he reached for more and missed, he would lose even the little security he had. He told himself comfortable lies. Money isn't everything. Rich people are just stressed. Simple living is better. These weren't his true beliefs. They were shields to protect him from his fear. But every night, when the apartment was quiet, Ethan would lie awake thinking about his mother. Her knees had been getting worse with each passing year. She could barely walk without pain. She needed surgery. He knew it. But the thing was, Ethan didn't have the money. Not even close. He had saved $450 over 2 years. The surgery would cost thousands. The gap between what he had and what his mother needed was the thing keeping him up most nights, staring at the ceiling. He'd think, if I could just make more money. But then the fear would hit. What if I try and fail? What if I lose everything I have? It's better to stay where I am, safe. One evening, Ethan received a call from the hospital. His mother had fallen and her knees gave out completely. The doctor told him that unless she got surgery soon, she might never walk properly again. The surgery was necessary. She had no other choice. Ethan went to the hospital, his heart heavy, knowing that he didn't have what it took to help. He sat in the waiting room, watching families come and go. Some looked relieved, others worried, but all of them had the money to be there. And something inside him clicked. For all these years, he had believed that staying poor was safer. It wasn't safe. It was just easier than facing his fear. Now, his mother was paying the price for his fear. The next day, Ethan did something he had never done before. He went to see Mr. Thompson, a local businessman in the town. Mr. Thompson wasn't rich, but he lived comfortably and had managed to build a successful business over the years. Ethan had always admired him from a distance, but had never sought his advice. Now, he had no choice. Ethan needed help. When Mr. Thompson opened the door and saw the tired, worried look on Ethan's face, he didn't ask questions. He simply said, "Come in, sit down. What's going on?" Ethan explained everything: his mother's health, the cost of the surgery, the fear that had held him back for so long. And then, with a shaky voice, he asked, "Can you lend me the money? I'll pay you back as soon as I can." Mr. Thompson paused, then replied, "I'll help you, but not in the way you think." Ethan was confused. Mr. Thompson continued, "I could give you the $3,000 right now, and your mother would get her surgery. But then you'd spend years trying to pay me back. and in the end, nothing would change. He leaned forward and said, "Instead, I'll lend you the money. But while your mother is recovering, I will teach you how to build real, sustainable income, not just quick fixes." Ethan's eyes widened. "You can teach me that?" Mr. Thompson nodded. "One condition, you have to commit to learning. Not just nodding along and then going back to the same old safe life. If I invest my time teaching you, you need to invest your effort into learning. Deal?" Ethan agreed. Deal. They went to Mr. Thompson's yard, where he pointed at 2 trees planted side by side. They were planted the same year, in the same soil, with the same water. But one grew strong and healthy, while the other stayed small and weak. Do you know why? Ethan shook his head. "Because I let the first one grow," Mr. Thompson explained. "I didn't trim it out of fear it would get too big. I let its roots spread. I fed it, and now it bears fruit every year. The second one, I kept trimming, thinking I was doing the responsible thing by controlling it. But now it barely produces anything." He turned to Ethan and said, "You've been trimming yourself for years, thinking it would keep you safe. But you're not safe. You're just small. And being small doesn't protect you from life's challenges. It only makes you powerless when they arrive." Mr. Thompson's words hit Ethan hard. He continued, "Money isn't good or bad. It's a tool. A knife can be used to cut vegetables or hurt someone. It's not the knife. It's the person holding it." He paused for a moment before adding, 20 years ago, my father needed surgery. I didn't have the money. I borrowed from a loan shark and paid brutal interest for years. That's when I decided to never be powerless again. I learned about business. I failed twice before anything worked. But I kept going. He gestured to his surroundings. "I'm not rich, but I've been able to help others. I helped pay for your neighbor's daughter to go to college last year. I paid for Mrs. Reyes's hospital bill when her husband fell ill. Not because I'm special, but because I stopped being afraid of building wealth." Mr. Thompson looked at Ethan. "The question isn't whether you should want money. The question is, what will you do with it when you have it?" Ethan's mother had the surgery 2 weeks later. As she slowly recovered, Ethan started learning. Mr. Thompson was tough on him, but fair. Want more income? Solve a problem people have. Do it better than anyone else. Charge a fair price. That's it. Ethan started looking around and noticed that many parents wanted their children to learn English, but couldn't afford the expensive tutors in the city. He came up with an idea: weekend English classes, small groups, affordable prices. He started with just 4 students, charging $30 per month per student. It wasn't much, but it was something. The first few months were tough. Some parents questioned his qualifications. One student quit. Ethan felt like giving up. He turned to Mr. Thompson for advice. "Should I lower my price?" he asked. Mr. Thompson looked at him and said, "Are the students learning?" Ethan replied, "Yes, they are." "Then don't lower your price. Improve your teaching. Make yourself worth it." So Ethan did. He worked harder. He sent parents monthly progress reports. By the 6th month, he had 7 students. By month 8, he had 9. By the end of year 1, he had 15 students. Ethan hired a friend to help. He started paying back Mr. Thompson $100 a month. Not fast, but steady. Year 2, he had 22 students. The program had a reputation now. One day, a wealthy parent offered to pay double if Ethan would give their child special attention. Ethan refused, saying, "I charge fair prices for good work. That doesn't change based on who's asking." The parent respected that, and word spread. 4 years later, Ethan walked up to Mr. Thompson's door with an envelope. Inside was $3,000, the full loan repayment, plus an extra $1,000. Mr. Thompson raised an eyebrow. "What's this for?" Ethan smiled and said, "Someone helped you once. You helped me. Now I help whoever's next." Mr. Thompson smiled back, saying quietly, "You got it." Ethan's mother was walking again. His English program was thriving. He had savings for the first time in his life. But the biggest change, he wasn't afraid anymore. He had learned that building wealth, real wealth, wasn't greedy. It was about being responsible enough to help when help was needed. Money, he realized, wasn't inherently good or bad. It was just a tool, and what you do with it, that truly matters. You can't help others from a place of powerlessness. You can't pour from an empty cup. Building wealth isn't about greed. It's about building the capacity to do good. It's scary, sure. Starting something new, taking risks, putting yourself out there. But what's even scarier? Reaching the end of your life and realizing you played it safe when the people you loved needed you to be brave. So, here's my question for you. What belief about money are you carrying that's really just fear in disguise? Maybe it's people like me don't get rich. Maybe it's I'm not smart enough for business. Maybe it's wanting more makes me selfish. Whatever it is, ask yourself, is this belief protecting me or limiting me? Because like Ethan, you might have spent years thinking that your fear was keeping you safe, but it was just keeping you small. The moment Ethan chose to grow, everything changed. Not overnight, not magically, but steadily. If this story resonated with you, share it with someone who might be stuck in the same trap. Leave a comment. What's one money belief you're ready to question? Let's figure this out together. Until next time, don't let fear decide your future. You're capable of more than you think.